Hi, I'm Stephanie, and this is Texas Peach Knits. So how's everybody doing? It's very early on a Monday morning here. Most of my children are still asleep. We had a very busy weekend. I am drinking my cup of cheer, and while I enjoy being up and busy in the early morning, I usually don't like to talk to anyone, so you must be real friends that I'm coming here to talk to you. Now, a lot of things happened this weekend. A lot of things in my family, a lot of things on the internet, and I'm just here to tell you that I'm okay, and I hope all of you are doing okay. We had a lot of drama with the Stephen West make-along. I'm sure you have heard. And in my last video, I let you know that I was really excited to join in this year. I have never participated in a make-along with Stephen West, and I am not even sure. I haven't even looked to see if I've ever knit any of his other patterns. I am not sure I have. Prior to the beginning of this mystery knit along, my opinion of Stephen West was that he was extremely talented and creative and hardworking, and I really admired his ability to create such artistic patterns. After the start of the make-along, I will say that my opinion is that he's very talented and creative, he's very hardworking, and I really admire his ability to make such interesting and artistic patterns. So my opinion has not changed. However, some of the ways that the knit along went down made me kind of rethink my participation. Because quite frankly, knitting is a hobby. It's an extra thing. It is for fun. And what I was hoping to get out of this knit along was that I would learn some new techniques, that I would knit something I wouldn't necessarily have chosen for myself, which I think is sometimes good to do something out of the ordinary and have it be something you wouldn't usually choose for yourself. I got the first clue, and I didn't spoil myself right away, let me put it that way. I started it, I went on to the video just to make sure I was doing the very first part correctly, and I will show you how far I got. So I did this much, I've done one triangle, and I really liked the pattern. I thought it really looked like a classic pinwheel quilt square, which I think a lot of people thought, and a lot of fiber artists cross over to sewing, and we really appreciate quilting and the geometric art that goes into quilting. This is my Knit Circus gradient, and I think it's called Keone. It's fingering weight, and it's this beautiful, just like blue tones. And I've got more of a blue light this morning, so I think we're all just a little bit more blue. So this is how far I got. When everything happened and Stephen West came up with the alternate clue 1 for anyone that wanted to knit it, I thought that was very gracious of him. He really didn't have to do that because he had already designed the pattern. He could have just said, this is my pattern, guys, just knit. It's a mystery, knit what I make. So it was very gracious of him to come out with an alternate for anyone that for any reason didn't like or thought they saw something in the original clue 1. So props to him for that. I think the point where I was done was when he went on to say, you know, a couple days later, that if anyone chose to knit the original the way it was, that they couldn't participate in the mystery knit along, they wouldn't be acknowledged. And there was a lot of assumptions about what was going on in those people's minds as to why they would choose to continue knitting. And I really come from a place where I like to assume the best of what people's intentions are. I really honestly try to see things that they're not out to like harm people or get people. And I saw a lot of that kind of thought process going on amongst the online community, where people would outright say, if you chose to knit Clue 1 the way it was, you obviously thought and felt a certain way. And I think that's reaching a little bit for everyone, and it's getting to the point where it's just icky. Like, it's not fun to participate in a community like that where people are making assumptions about each other and their intentions. And that's not where I come from. And so I really felt like I needed to take a step back. I'm definitely anti the social media cancel culture. I don't feel like anyone should have their livelihoods taken away through cancel culture. And for that reason, I would in no way want to cancel West Knits, because they are doing the best they can. Just like everybody else, they made the decision they thought was best. And if I don't agree with that decision, you know what? I'm one knitter. I don't matter. And I'm not obligated to them. I don't have to knit their patterns. And so I think everyone should be able to just choose what they feel the best about, and we can all move on with our lives. So there's lots of happier knitting going on. And I always have way too many things to knit. So I decided that it was best for me just not to participate. And I actually did request a refund, because I do think that my $8 is more important to me than it is to Stephen West. But I understand if he chooses not to refund me. I haven't heard anything back about that. But at this point, I have no plans to continue or knit the pattern. However, I was looking at my beautiful blue yarn, and I already caked it up. I mean, I have to use it, right? So I went through my pattern books and I thought, I'm going to choose a pattern myself for this yarn, and I'm going to let it inspire me for what it would like me to knit it into. And so I'm going to show you the pattern I cast on and what I have started. So just as a reminder, this is my blue gradient, and in this light, they don't look super different in color, but this is definitely the lightest one. This one is just slightly darker with these hints of the darker blue. This one is definitely a medium blue, and this one is what I would say is like a medium dark, really saturated, more saturated blue. So I'm sorry about the lighting, but the month of October is dedicated to our Blessed Mother, Mary, and to the Rosary. And blue is Mary's color. And this is really Marian blue, I would say. So I was really excited to get to pick a pattern that I felt like went perfect with the month of October for me. And I had seen this, I remembered it, and as soon as I saw it again, I was flipping through all my books and magazines and things. I thought, you know what? That's what this needs to be. So this is a chapel shawl. It's from Interweave Knits Spring 2014. So that's it on the model. And it calls for 4 skeins of yarn. There's the back. And what my plan is it's knit from the center out with a provisional cast on. I'm using the darkest color blue for this center on either side, and then I will use the gradient out to the outsides. And it ends with this really beautiful lace that's knit on at the end. There's a couple things about this pattern that are very challenging for me. If you watched my 1-year anniversary, someone asked, what's like a no-go for you in a pattern? And for me, that's really double-sided lace. Guess what this pattern is? Double-sided lace. So I do feel like it's a pretty big challenge for me, and it has a huge lace chart. So you repeat the lace chart 4 times on each side, and I have 4 colors. So I'll be repeating the whole chart on each side of the shawl with each color. And what I did, because it has this huge chart that is very small, I'm going to try to cover up most of it. See, it's a big chart, this whole thing. It's pretty small in the magazine, and all of us are getting older, our eyes are getting more tired, and I often find myself knitting in low light. So I decided I needed to blow it up. And I don't know if you know, but in your, especially if you have Google Drive on your cell phone, you can go to the Google Drive and you can click the little add button, and then there's an option to scan. So I scanned just the chart, and it uploads into my Google Drive, and then I can print it as a PDF from my computer, just the chart part. So I'm going to try to cover this up too. So I got a full page chart off of, this is a picture I took basically of the Interweave Knits magazine, so I could blow it up from this size to that size, and it worked really well. It's very, very easy to do. And if you would like to do that and you don't understand the instructions I gave you, please feel free to email me. I would be happy to walk you through how to do it if you ever need to do that. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee. So I haven't even showed you what I've done yet. So this had a provisional cast on, which is also not my favorite, but I'm stretching myself, right? Learning new things. And here we go. So this is, I've done about 1/4 of the first chart. So let me see if this is the back. Let me turn it around. And if you notice, hopefully you notice maybe my sound is a little louder, maybe a little better. Jessica of Cafe Bean Counter Knits figured out how to turn my correct microphone on in my MacBook that I use. So I have like an external webcam that I video with, and it has its own microphone, but when I go into the program that I record in, it only gives me the choice to pick the camera. It doesn't give me a choice to pick the microphone. And so for all of my past episodes, I've been recording. That was my time to go to school alarm clock. So we're gonna be late to school today. So all of my past episodes, I've been recording with the MacBook internal microphone, and it is just not as good. So if any of those were difficult for you to hear, I'm sorry, I'm not technologically advanced. So here's the front. and it is garter lace, so it's very squishy, and you can't really see the lace pattern yet. I feel like it has to be bigger. It's like a large lace pattern. So, and the actual lace pattern is called Beads and Trees. So I'm very excited about this. I actually attached, I had a broken miraculous medal, and I attached that as a stitch marker just to remind me that this is the month of October, and I really try to focus on the good and the beautiful, and what's more beautiful than our Blessed Mother? So there you go. So I'm very happy with my decision. I am sad to lose the community knitting aspect, which I do really enjoy. But in this case, it just wasn't, you know, I'm not a mainstream knitter. I think you all know that. And we all have to knit what brings us happiness, right? And knitting is it's very artistic and creative, but it's also a very useful craft. I mean, people didn't start knitting just because they wanted to make beautiful things. They started knitting because they needed warm clothing. And then because I feel like it's important that we emulate the beauty of the world and the beauty that God has, you know, He made this beautiful world for us. When we make things to use, we should try to make them as beautiful as possible. And so that's where we get all, you know, the lace patterns and the leaf lace and all the things that emulate nature and beautiful color combinations. It's because we are emulating the beauty in the world that God has provided for us. And so I'm happy to be trying to like refocus. I'm okay. I hope you're okay. And I think people should knit what they want. So if you're still knitting, if you changed your pattern, if you're going along with whatever, you know, do what makes you happy and what you enjoy. And I feel like no one should feel coerced or manipulated to knit anything that they wouldn't love to knit. So I hope whatever you're knitting is making you happy. So I'm going to show you a few more projects, and then I'm going to go back in the house. I'm in my schoolhouse right now. I think most of you know that this is my school shed. And someday, maybe this will be the yarn shed. No, gotta grow those kids up. But I think my husband would fight me because he wants it to be the music, total music shed. All right, let me find my next project. Okay, so another finished object that I didn't sew in the yarn is this double-brimmed hat. This is fingering weight held double. This was a pattern by Amy of Happy Little Yarn. I think she's planning to put it out again, but I had messaged her for it because I saw it on one of her past podcasts. I believe this is Socks That Rock Silky, and this hat is for my husband. I tell you all the colors in my last episode. But so this is a really tight fitting hat. I have a larger head than my husband does, but it's very warm. On him, it totally covers his ears without pulling it down too much. And it's because it's a double brim fingering weight, it actually has like four strands of yarn in the double brim where it covers your ears. So really great hat pattern, really useful, very fast to knit. The other project I brought to show you is my Opal Pretty. Look at how terrible this yarn ball is looking. I need to knit some of those yarn holders. This is Opal Pretty. This is from Anna Lena Knitter. And This is color 3216 of the Pretty line. It has sparkle, and this is for my 12-year-old daughter. So this is how far I am on these socks. I did a total 2x2 rib leg. I think it looks super adorable, folded down like a crew sock. And all of my kids have started calling this the piñata sock. So they think it looks like a piñata. So these are her piñata socks, and she loves them. She wants me to finish them before we go camping, which is in like 2 weeks. And that's not going to happen. This will actually be probably my main camping project. And those are 64 stitches on 1.5 US needles, which is how I normally knit the socks for myself and my 2 daughters. And then I just do them different lengths depending on shoe size. The last thing I'm going to show you is just some yarn. So I have some acrylic yarn. This is like a huge ball that one of my kids wound up. It's blowing out. Black and white. My eldest daughter was invited to a high school homecoming football game, not the dance. And it's not a school anywhere near us because it is a friend from church who she is not allowed to date, at least not yet. But we're going as a whole family with their family, and she asked if oh look, it looks like a person. That's really funny. She asked me if I could make him a beanie in his school colors for the homecoming game. So he's actually in the band, so we will be sitting with his family, and they're from our church, so they're a really sweet family, and looking forward to that. And quite frankly, just going into all kinds of new stages of life, you know, having a high schooler, and you know, kids are growing up. This week we're going to be putting braces on a second kid, so that'll be fun. Like I said, I need my $8 back because I have to pay for 2 sets of braces at the same time. But anyways, I hope you all are doing well. I hope you enjoyed this really brief Texas Peach Knits interlude, and I wish you all the best. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.